Dolly Oberoi is the founder and CEO of C2 Technologies. She got a graduate degree from Harvard and decided to venture out in a completely new area that she's going to tell us about. And apart from that, we are so delighted that Dolly is also the current TiE DC president. So welcome, Dolly.
Thank you, Shekhar. I'm so glad we're in a virtual world because I'm a virtual speaker. I can never be seen by anybody. Can you see me? Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm going to stand a little bit on the side, so if you wish to see me, that's okay. I think this is fine. I'm really honored to be here. This is home for me. This is where my journey started, Boston. I know it's been a long evening, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Entrepreneurs are crazy, and I'm born to two entrepreneurs. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. So when I graduated from graduate school in New Delhi, I worked for my mother, who has a trust, and she has K through 12 schools and all that stuff. And she wanted me to be a teacher because I wanted to be a journalist, and she said, you'll die of starvation, you'll never make it, and nobody will marry you. That was a very key thing, nobody will marry you, and all those. She really painted this very doom and gloom picture and said, so I said, Mother, what do you suggest that I do? She said, go get your teaching degree, then you can teach during the day and write in the evening, and then you won't starve, and if your articles don't make it, nobody will feel bad and nobody will know, and we won't be embarrassed. I said, okay, sounds good. So I got a teaching certificate, I got my master's, and I went to work for her. I have to say that that was the best experience of my life because I was working for a true entrepreneur. She was, in 1962, after partition, she came to Delhi and she found that there were no schools in the refugee developments that they were building. So she started with a one-room schoolhouse. So I grew up with that entrepreneurial spirit. And she was so busy constructing buildings and all that. And I thought, this is great. She's busy, and I'm going to do all these cool things, which I did. She was catering to the first generation of learners. And so I taught them everything from how to use a toilet, because they were living in shacks and didn't have running water and bathrooms, and these were modern buildings they were coming to table manners, to everything in between. And it was an exciting time. And then one night I had an idea. I said, these kids have never left New Delhi. We don't have good books. They're all black and white books on very poor quality paper. They don't know what the world is like. So why don't I go and explore the world and connect all the schools in the world and use satellite. INSAT 1B had just been launched those days, and we had electricity supposedly in all the villages. We still don't have power in most cities, but that's a different story. And TVs, and then we can connect. And I got this great idea. Next day I woke up and I said to my mother and father, I said, guys, I'm going to go around the world and I'm going to look for computers. So my mother said, oh yeah, they grow on trees, and when you find that tree, you call me. And I said, she never takes me seriously. So I went and called a friend who worked for KLM. I said, can you buy me my ticket, and I'll give you the money. And she got the ticket, and then my parents were very upset that I was leaving. I was in my early 20s, and this girl is going to some part of the world they don't know. And I listed all these friends I knew in different countries. I really made a good business case, let's put it this way. So I have to say that that was the time my entrepreneurial journey started. It's not about only making companies and buildings and this and that everybody talks about. It's about how you run your life. Every minute has to be, you have to solve the problems creatively, you have to be resourceful, you have to figure it out somehow. So I figured this out. And then my father and mother driving me to the airport, my father says to my mother, she's so timid, she hasn't started crying and saying, I'm not going. And I said, oh, this is it, I'm going. So I got on the plane and I reached Amsterdam. I was coming to Atlanta, so I reached Amsterdam, started crying. I said, oh God, what did I do? Then I said, oh, this is only for 2 months, I can always go home early. So I reached Atlanta, and guess who I met over there? A person, two people you know here, Ranjini and Anil. I never knew them. They were my new best friends. And of course, Ranjini can out-talk me, so... So she talked so much, so fast, and we talked about technology, and I said, I want to see computers. I've never seen computers. She said, I'm going to see my new husband in Boston. Why don't you come with me? And we took the train, and she's talking. We come to Boston. That's why I'm saying it all began in Boston. So then the Then the journey started. Then Anil takes me and he says, oh, there is a presentation at Harvard, you can go there. I said, okay. In his very nice, mild-mannered way, he took me, and these guys, so I go there and I'm looking at computers, video discs. This was it for me. Guys, that was the turning point. I said, found technology, we're going to use it for learning. We're going to have the first schools in India to have technology. Called up my parents, and my mother was crying on the phone. My father was screaming, you have to get married. What the hell are you doing? You got $200 in a backpack, and you probably spent all the money already, and we don't know anybody there. I said, I'll figure it out. So I didn't have a visa, I didn't have a place to stay, I didn't have money, and I applied to Harvard, and they won't waive the GRE exam because I didn't have money. So they won't waive the TOEFL, they won't do all of that stuff. So I should go and fight with them every day. And finally the woman said, why don't you go talk to the dean? And the dean said, if you can fight so hard in English, you must know English. So she goes. So that's how I got accepted. So I got somebody loaned me $25. I put in an application, I got accepted, and then started raising funds and all that stuff. Then winter came, I didn't have winter clothing, didn't have a place to live, but anyway. Bottom line is I had to fund my education, I had to find a way to live, so whenever people ask me this question, how was your education at Harvard? I say, I don't remember. Because I was so busy trying to make a living, trying to study, do my exams and all of this stuff and fight the winter, and then my picture was in the Boston Globe because first snow and I'm wearing my Jaipuri juttis and walking in the snow. And talk about a total desi landing up and not knowing anything, and people would say, wow, and take pictures and say, beautiful snow boots. And I was like, wow, this is cool. So anyway, I got a degree from the Graduate School of Education. The first year they were offering a learning technologies degree. I attended a session this morning, and there are so many intersections talking about the future. And that time I was thinking of connecting the globe through satellites and this and that. Today we can connect it through the internet. And I got a degree. I went back to India. People said, we don't know what you're talking about. I couldn't explain it, so I came back. And then somebody said, go to Washington. There are a lot of defense contractors there who need technology because their mission is very critical. They do weapon systems training and all that stuff. So here, a peace-loving person praying to God all day, I said, oh God, I don't want to teach people how to use weapons, but if that's the only way to use technology, so be it. So I met my husband at this company that I went to, and I told those people, please don't let me use technology to teach people how to use weapons. So they put me on some other inane projects. And subsequently, they started losing business, and there were layoffs, and I decided that I should start my own business. Here I am on I don't have an H-1B yet. I'm still on my work permit. I don't have money. I don't have anything, and I'm going to try to start my own business. So I told my boss, I said, come and have tea with me, and all the projects that this company's been working on, we can take all those projects. She said, excuse me, we talk about business ethics. She says, excuse me, this is about business ethics. You can't take this company's work and go somewhere and start your own business. I said, what's wrong with it? I know the customers, I know the work, we can do it together. And she absolutely taught me about business ethics and integrity, about not doing that kind of a thing. And anyway, so I started consulting. And my consulting jobs were really from taking organizations from the chalkboard into the e-learning environment. But the technology didn't quite exist at the time, so I did a lot of studies. Come 1996, they said, okay, now you've done all these studies, now talk about execution. How about executing this stuff? I said, oh, that's scary. So we had to develop solutions. So I started working on developing solutions, and my husband was working for GDIT, and we were competitors. And so I said to him, we won a very large contract and won a lot of work through that contract, and I said to him, I said, okay, you can be a sore loser every time you go up against me, or you can be a winner. So come to my side. And so I have to say that was the next turning point in my life, because I couldn't get any capital to start business. Nobody would loan me money. So I hired my husband, the poor guy. Since then, it's been hell for him. So But anyway, so the company really got launched in 1996 when we landed a very large government contract. Every agency could do business through that. So we've been developing, today we are 400 people strong. We develop learning solutions for the aviation industry. There are a whole bunch of aircrafts we train on, C-17s, A-10s, C-130s, all kinds of air crew training. We do a lot of work in the homeland security area. We cover just about every area. We are experts in using learning technologies, and our customers are experts in their domains. So we bring the two together and delivering on mobile devices, all kinds of fun things that we're doing. But it's been a very fun, hard but fun journey. All of the principles that you talked about, Sanjay, and I want to say to the young entrepreneurs here, focus, commitment, excitement, passion. Those are the keys. Entrepreneurship has no borders. Innovation has no boundaries. You're only stopped by your own imagination. So take risks, have fun. If you fail, stand up again and try it again. Thank you so much.